Hey, how's it going?
Hi, how are you?
Good. So today, guys, we have Cathy Di Leo from, I'm going to totally mess up, like it's Di Leo
Design and Staging, yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why I have such a hard time with it, but okay. So yeah, so she's here today to kind of talk to us about some home staging tips and tricks, design, all the fun stuff that, you know, kind of comes along with the real estate world. Like, I guess I would like to think of it as our little HGTV, like, spin-off.
So, how do you make the homes better, right?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the goal, to sell more homes, right? And help people find their new home.
For sure.
So I guess to kind of start, so one of the things I think I would like to start with, as I kind of brought up, is just the whole idea of home staging, right? I think a lot of people think that they know what it is, but they're intimidated by it, or they think it's so much bigger than what it is. Sorry, this son. Oh, our dog got on the chair.
Yeah, well, staging is really just getting your house ready to sell. I mean, like we just said, the ultimate goal when you list your house is to sell it. And the minute you make that decision to sell it, your home becomes a commodity. You know, in most cases, people spend, you know, more than 1 year, several years in a home. It becomes their own. They have their personality woven through it. But, you know, when you list your house, it needs to appeal to the masses. So really, that's what staging is. It's just making your house appeal to multiple number of buyers so that you sell it quicker and for the most amount possible, because nobody ever likes to have their house on the market for a really long time and lower the price of it. And staging doesn't have to be complicated. So
yeah, a lot of times you can just repurpose some of the current homeowners' furniture and things that they have in their home that they're probably just not realizing that it's not appealing to the masses the way they have it set up.
Exactly. A lot of times, you know, the flow of the furniture. I mean, what we do as stagers is we really just come in, and the first thing we do is look at the curb appeal. You know, some of the things that you walk by every day that you might neglect, like the cobwebs above the front door, or, you know, just a simple power washing, we notice and we make note of. And that's something that we give you as a checklist to do before you list your house. Some other things that we do are, you know, paint color. Paint color is really important to selling your home, and it develops an emotional connection with the buyers. So, you know, recommending just a fresh coat of paint or decluttering of your house. Those are things that don't cost a lot of money that can make a huge impact.
Yeah. And so when you were saying, like, one of the things that I just don't know if it is true or not, like when you say like making it appeal to the masses, you know, I was always told, like, we always tell people, like, don't have family photos of everybody. They feel like they have to take those down. Do you think that's really important, or do you think it's okay? Because, like, sometimes when I'm showing houses, I kind of like seeing the family that was there. Well, you know, I think it makes it more of a human, right? Like, when you realize there's another person on the other side of the transaction, not just...
It does. The whole idea of staging your home, though, is to get that person to imagine themselves living in that home. And you can only do that in the first 10 seconds the person walks into the house. So you really have to create that emotional connection with them. And I do recommend that they take family photos down, and maybe you can replace it with, you know, some other photo that makes an emotional connection. So a great example is in the Florida area. I mean, people who move here, they want the outdoor lifestyle, living by the water, going to the beach, and you can put up photos that remind them that, hey, we're only 40 minutes away from the beach. You can have this fantastic lifestyle in the sun if you move to Florida and live in this house.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome.
So, as far as you touched on paint colors earlier, what are you seeing? Like, what's super popular right now? What's out?
So grays are still really popular. What's really not in at all are golds and oranges. So if you have a house that you've built in 2005, 2006, that's really heavy Mediterranean look, it's probably best to put a more updated paint color on there. And you can use grays that have undertones of yellows and like taupes rather than the blue grays and the cool grays, because I know a lot of those older homes have a lot more of the yellow undertones, and people are confused with how to modernize that with the blue grays that you see now. It's super easy. I mean, just choose a paint color with a yellow undertone. Another good thing to do, black front doors. You cannot believe how much the value of your home increases when you paint your front door black. I believe the figure was like $6,000 increase in value of a home with a black front door. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Front door.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me start the next day.
And blue, if you want to do like colors, blue is a great color for bathrooms. But typically, if you're going to repaint the same neutral color throughout the whole home. And then if you want to do a pop of color somewhere, do a blue bathroom. Accent walls should definitely be painted over when we're talking about, getting a home ready to list.
Yeah.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah, and because I feel like when you see the accent wall, like that was such a trend, but I think it actually makes the face feel so much smaller, right?
Yes.
It like disturbs the eye.
And believe me, you know what? As recent as maybe 2 months ago, I have actually seen like a full-blown accent wall with multicolored squares on a wall in an MLS listing photo.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and now going back to that with like accents, like what do you see with like the stone walls or like the shiplap walls? Like what are your...
I'm seeing a lot of that in the design side of my business. In a lot of the newer homes that are being built, they're multi-level and they've got really large expanses of wall. And a lot of times to be able to kind of, tone down this big 2-story wall that has nothing on it, you can use things like the faux finishes and the stones, and even wallpaper is coming back in. So I've had a lot of clients over the last 6 months requesting those different finishes on the walls. So, and electric fireplaces as well are becoming really popular.
Yes,
I've seen those too, and it looks so nice. I love them. I love the stone, and the natural accent walls.
We're seeing that especially around the TV walls, right? So the TV's there, stone wall, and then the electric fireplace.
Yes.
Even though it's Florida, the fireplace gives the ambiance.
Yes.
I agree. It does look cool.
And as far as like, I guess like what is the number one mistake that you see going into a home when
the number one mistake I see is, I love leather sofas. They're so functional for families. They're very durable. But in MLS photos, and we can talk a little bit about the photos and how important they are, in the photos that you take for listing your home, brown sofas do not photograph well. And I think that's the biggest mistake, is that people photograph the brown sofas on a wood floor or a dark floor, and the room just becomes instantly dark in the photos.
Yeah, I agree.
And talking about the photos, I think it's important too to mention that the photos are, basically your lifeline to getting your home shown right now. So many people are viewing photos on Zillow and Realtor and choosing homes to shop before they even make the appointments to see them in person. So if you don't go out of the gate strong with great, fantastic photos, you're basically lost in the shuffle in all the homes that the buyers are viewing. Do you see the same thing?
Yeah, and that's one of the things that, whenever people want to list, they always get very anxious. They want to get it on the market. Like, they'll be like, how fast can you get it listed?
Yeah.
And that's one of, I think, the biggest, obstacles, because we tell them, like, let's wait. We need to have the photos done. We need to give them time to edit the photos so that because like you said, you got one shot to make a good impression. Yeah, and once they've seen your house once, if you don't get them to make a move on it, they moved on. Like they're looking at the next one.
And the videos too, right? Like we got to get the videographer set so that he gets in and actually does a walkthrough. And right now it's super important because there's so many people moving here from out of the state. So the video walkthroughs are, in my opinion, probably more important now than they ever have been since video walkthroughs started.
Oh, I totally agree. I have an example of a house that it was on the market for 56 days. It was listed at $669 in Grand Hampton in Tampa. It didn't sell. They took it off the market. They had me come in and stage it. Once they relisted it with the new photos, it sold in 9 days with a bidding war. They had lowered the price 15 grand. It had a bidding war and it got almost back up to the original listing price and sold in 9 days. So, I mean, if that's not a great testament to staging, I don't know what is.
Yeah. Agreed.
No, I totally agree.
And I think the biggest mistake that we see a lot of times when people choose to keep doing a price reduction in lieu of staging, especially on homes that are vacant. And we ran into this recently with a house in Wesley Chapel. It was actually underpriced, but it was a vacant home with no upgrades. It still had like the builder grade yellow walls. And the listing agent actually called and she's like, hey, I know you do a ton of business in there. What do you think? Why is this house not selling? And I'm like, because it looks so plain Jane. And why would you not stage it, right? You could have spent half the money or a third of the money staging it instead of doing the price reduction. And I think that's a huge mistake that we see often.
Yeah.
Agreed. And staging, I mean, like you were saying before, staging, occupied stagings are not expensive because we can use the things that people have in their home. Vacant stagings, I mean, just an average out there ballpark price point, $3,000 to stage a vacant home is, my starting point for these larger homes that are the, 3,000, 3,500 square foot homes.
Yeah.
And you can make them look very modern, even if they have some of the older features to them. Throw in like a fun new tribal rug and shag, or some really cool boucle chairs, and some hammered metal tables, and this house doesn't look like it's from 1990 anymore. So
I agree.
Yep.
And then the other thing too, you do offer design services, which this is another great thing that I think that people don't take advantage of, right?
Yes.
Because for me, like I love seeing stuff. Like I go look at model homes, I'm like, this is so pretty, but I have a really hard time putting it together. Stuff at the store, and I'm like, but I don't know what I would do with it.
Yeah.
So you offer services like that as well, right?
I do. I offer full design services. And ironically, a lot of times my design clients are the clients whose homes I've staged and sold, and they loved it so much after I staged it that they wanted me to design their new home. So I have a couple of clients like that. I also have clients that have moved across country, like we were talking about before. They've sold all of their possessions and they've built a house here, and they come with like this little, pod of stuff, a TV, one chair, maybe a mattress, and then we have to completely furnish their house. So, it's fun. And there are a lot of different, people that I get to meet and things that I get to do. But yeah, I think the biggest thing with the design is just trying to get an overview of how you want the room to feel and how you want it to look and how you're going to use it. And then the accessories are what people usually have the hardest time with. And accessories in relationship to scale, because with these homes that are being built in this area, like I was talking about before, you've got, double story walls. And if you put a little 11-inch vase in this house, it looks teeny tiny. So you have to talk about big scale accessories, big scale pieces of art, and higher back sofas. So
and that's exactly how it was in our house. Like I had such a hard time because it is. I mean, these huge walls. I'm like, what do I do with this wall? But one of the things that I've seen, and I think it looks so amazing, is just the different uses of like wainscoting, right? Like I've seen like some different things where it's so inexpensive and you can add such a wow factor. And it doesn't have to be the basic paint the chair real white that we've seen. Like I've seen them like where they painted the same color as the wall, so it kind of blends in, but it just adds dimension.
Yes. Agreed. There are so many different finishes right now that you can do, herringbone ones and the wainscoting looking, and even, I've seen a lot of floating shelves, and with all the LED lighting and the strip lighting, there's really cool things you can do now with lighting, and it doesn't have to have all of these wires everywhere or lamps. So there's so much that you can do.
And I think another huge mistake that people make is the lighting. Lighting the home. Again, so when you make a first impression, if you go in there and every light's off, I've gone in for some showings and I guess they closed all the blinds, all the lights are off, and you look like you're walking into a dungeon.
Yeah, I hate that.
What are you guys doing?
And ceiling lighting. I'm amazed at how many people actually use their ceiling lighting and don't have like dimmer switches. You know, ambient light it sets the mood for a room, and you know, floor lamps and table lamps, they can be different design pieces and focal points if you have a really cool chandelier, a really cool table lamp, but it also just creates that soft light and creates light in different areas than right directly above your head. And that's never light that's favorable to anyone.
Right.
No,
So,
and I agree. I think when we show houses, the things that I've noticed that are like the biggest wow factors people will end up being lighting, light fixtures. If they see a light fixture, they freak out. And normally they're not that expensive, you know.
No.
Nice ones. They're, you know, so to swap out the light fixtures, they just feel like it's so upgraded. And same thing with like the wainscoting, crown molding.
Yes.
That's not
those
that
are
do.
They're not.
It's amazing to me how we've seen, and you know from living around here, right? So take any given neighborhood in Estancia, Seven Oaks, or Grand Hampton, you generally have the same 15 models, right, being built in all these homes, but we'll see huge price swings in the homes that did the wainscoting, the light fixtures, staged it well. In looking at it from a 10,000 square foot view, it's like, why not invest a few $1,000s? Because in the end, it's totally going to return you 3-4x on that. But to the buyer, a lot of the buyers aren't perceiving it. They're just walking in and they're like, oh, that house is super plain. And then they walk in the next house and they're like, oh my gosh, this house is so upgraded. They're so focused on the little details, they don't even realize it's the same floor plan.
And part of that example is actually on our street, right? So there's a house right next door to us. It's been on the market now for a while. But
it's not our listing, so.
Yeah, it's not our listing, so we can skip this. But the reason I think it is it's a vacant home. Everything is just plain Jane. It's the but like to us, I'm like, it's a blank canvas, right? Like there's nothing bad about it. It's just that like builder grade, like creamy yellow walls. Yeah. Creamy floors. Everything's just plain.
Yeah.
It's listed. They dropped the price so much. I don't even know what it's listed for.
It's like $412 or $415 now. In the same model on our street, just sold for $500 in multiple offers. And the difference was the homeowner in the one for $500 did the light fixture upgrades, did the crown molding, the wainscoting,
and they did like some cool brick walls. They did some accent things, but we're talking just design pieces. It's nothing major. They didn't change the cabinets out. It's just
right.
I mean, we're talking probably not even $10,000 in
upgrades.
It's so easy. And with vacant houses too, I mean, I don't think we mentioned yet either. When you have a house that's vacant, you have the photos on the listing, you can't get a good gauge of the size of the room. So people can't determine what room they're looking at, how big that room is. And it just, again, we go back to that emotional connection. Selling a house is all about connecting emotionally with the buyer. And if you can't do that, and you can't with vacant homes for the most part, you know, or it's a lot harder. So, you know, that's why staging vacant houses is super important as well, just to kind of develop that connection.
Yeah.
So important. I mean, I was shocked at the difference in the price, and it's literally the exact same house.
Yeah. But people don't even realize it.
Yeah.
They don't. Yeah. They don't. Well, that's why we're here, right? We talked earlier too about just easy things that you can do to, you know, to get your home ready too. A good tip and trick is greenery. Greenery photographs really well. Silver and gold metallic photograph really well, and white comforters are amazing as a staging tool. I mean, take off that printed paisley comforter, throw a white one on there, put a couple of colored pillows for some pop, and pillows. You cannot imagine how many homes I go into where beds aren't made and there's 2 flat pillows laying on the top of the bed. Like, you know, different layers of pillows, like 3 layers of pillows if you're going to photograph a bedroom, 2 decorative pillows or even 1 decorative pillow. And that's an easy, quick fix. You can buy that stuff at...
For all the pillows. He gets so mad at me for all the pillows on the bed. He goes, he's like, why do we have
so to your point, everything that you're saying there, she did in our room. But the problem is, it's like a 10-minute process to get in the room. The room looks amazing because pretty, the white comforter. We have all these nice accent pillows. And I think accent pillows on accent pillows. I don't know. I just want to go to bed. So I'm throwing stuff off the bed for 5 minutes.
I think there was actually a movie in the 90s with, I think, Ben Stiller, where he got divorced from his wife and he was so angry about the pillow situation on the bed. He was like stabbing them with a pair of scissors because his wife was no longer in the picture and he was rebelling against the pillows on the bed.
So funny. I think it looks so pretty. And
it does. It looks great for sure. But I just want to go to bed.
Yes.
Seeing that, I just noticed I'm like in love with is really the white walls again. The white on white. What are you seeing? The white on white.
White on white is still popular, or is becoming more popular. Yes. White on white, though, again, people think it's clean and it's sterile and it looks really good, but in photographs, white on white doesn't photograph very well. You need that contrast, and people need sort of a calming effect. And when you have the white on white paint, you don't get that calming effect that you need with just a little contrast in paint. So I really do recommend, if you want to do, something close to a white, do a very light neutral, but just with a tad of contrast.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you've looked at a paint fan, but there are probably 60 different shades of white.
Yeah.
Blues, yellows, pinks. I mean, you can find something that has a tad hint of color.
Yeah, and that's what we did for our daughters, because she really liked that white on white. But like, I think I picked one and it has like just a hint of like almost like a yellow, because I had heard something one time, correct me if I'm wrong, that in like the bedrooms, you should go with like a little bit of like a flesh undertone, like something that's more, instead of like, I don't know, they said it makes you feel more calm or whatever. I don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah, and muted colors too for the bedrooms. Something that's muted down with a little bit of gray in it. So nothing like super bright like a Lego color, but always have like a very calming shade of blue or green or a pink. Add a touch of black to it to tone it down a little, and then that's going to be that calming factor in the color.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So I've got to know, what is your thought on the cabinets right now? We're seeing these kitchen cabinets hitting all different colors in different model homes. And I feel like our home is about 7 years old now, 6, 7 years old. But I feel about every 5 years, it's like everything in a kitchen is totally changed. Mm-hmm. So
yes.
what are your thoughts on that?
So tuxedo is really hot right now. The white uppers with the black lowers, or a black island with white cabinets. I'm seeing the gray. People are starting to change out the grays. People are starting to change out the navies. So they're going more towards the white cabinets again, with hardware changes and just the basic black. So I don't know if you're seeing the same thing, but
So I remember when the gray and the navy cabinets started coming into play. I would say about 3 years ago. I really feel like we started seeing it here in this market in a lot of the builders, and we've had conversations of like, I think it looks cool, but I feel like it's going to be a really short-lived fad, and it's going to be outdated in just a few years. So to your point, saying that it's already going out, I think we kind of foresaw that coming, And
I will say, I think that the white seems to just be so classic, right? I don't think white has ever gone out, because ours are the espresso, which I know that was a big phase, but we're ready to change them. And our house is only 7 years old because it's so dark, and we want to do the white.
And the accent island, I think, is huge.
Yeah, it is. The accent island is big, and having some statement chandelier. I mean, people can do so much. Again, back to lighting. It's not an expensive investment, but you can change out the lighting and completely change the room.
Agreed. 100%.
The other thing that I've seen in cabinets is the lighter cabinets coming back. So the natural wood and like not a maple or an ash color, like those lighter colored cabinets now in the real contemporary and modern styling with no hardware on them, very clean, kind of like the IKEA look.
Yeah.
I've seen that. It looks really pretty. That's what that's what I saw. It was like that color with almost the white on white with like the greenery. It's really clean, really pretty. I've noticed that I kind of am liking that.
Yeah, and the herringbone, I would say the herringbone floors right now are jumping out a lot to me when I'm out showing houses. I feel like in the past 5 to 20 years, everybody basically just did the square tiles. And then some of them, they made them the diamond, they turned them so that they were like the diamond going in. That was an upgrade back in the day.
Yes.
But now the herringbone is really popping up. And we are seeing that definitely. I'm seeing the herringbone much in the higher price points.
Yeah. Yeah. Herringbone's a lot more expensive that pattern's more expensive to run. And it's also more expensive to purchase when you're talking about tile for a wall. So that could be why you're seeing it in more high-end, more of the high-end houses.
Yeah. I'm just impressed that I just heard him point out herringbone floors. Like, I never thought I would hear that.
I like most of all the homes I showed that I really like. They're all like $3 million and plus. So I've got to adjust down my budget a little bit.
Who wouldn't love a $3 million home? Sign me up.
Yeah.
Well, we really appreciate you taking the time to share all of this with us. I know these are a lot of the common questions that we get, from clients.
How can people get a hold of you? How do they reach out?
I have a website. Oh, thanks. Yeah, my website is www.designs.com. I'm also on Facebook, and my phone number is 813-501-7464. And I really appreciate you guys letting me come on the show. I've had so much fun with you talking about staging and just, pillows.
So I think next time we have you on, I want to do something over the holidays. I think maybe if like the whole COVID thing works, maybe you can come over and we can do some sort of fun, like showcase something like how to do like some of I think a lot of people have a hard time like with selling their home during the holidays.
Right.
That would be fantastic. I would love it.
Okay. So we'll do something fun like that next time.
Okay.
And how do you talk your wife out of having like 15 Christmas trees?
I only have 7.
Hey, you can never have enough Christmas trees. I'm on Jennifer's side.
Never room. So
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Cathy. It was great
Thanks,
having you on.
Sure. Have a good day.
Thanks.
You too. Bye.
Bye.